Namaste. Welcome to our ongoing series of question and answers from the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Today's topic is Consciousness, Part 9. From Sri Aurobindo. The experience of the great expanse of golden light on a mountain top came because I had asked her to aspire for the higher experiences of the consciousness from above. The symbolic image of the mountain with the light on its top comes to most sadhaks who have the power of vision at all. The mountain is the consciousness rising from earth, the physical, through the successive heights, vital, mental, above mental, towards the spiritual heaven. The golden light is always the light of the higher truth, supermind, overmind, or a little lower down the pure intuition. And it is represented as a great luminous expanse on the summit of the being. X, by concentrating on the light, entered into contact with the higher reaches, and that always gives these results: peace, joy, strength, a consciousness secure in the power of the divine. It is, of course, through the psychic that she got into this contact, but in itself, it is more an experience of the higher spiritual consciousness above mind than a psychic experience. The nature of the meditation depends on the part of the being in which one is centered at the time. In the body, rather the subtle body than the physical, but connected with the corresponding parts in the gross physical body also, there are centers proper to each level of the being. There is a center at the top of the head, and above it, which is that of the above mind or higher consciousness. A center in the forehead between the eyebrows, which is that of the thinking mind, mental will, mental vision. A center in the throat, which is that of the expressive or externalizing mind. These are the mental centers. Below comes the vital, the heart, emotional, the navel, the dynamic life center, another below the navel in the abdomen, which is the lower or sensational vital center. Finally, at the bottom of the spine is the Mooladhara or physical center. Behind the heart is the psychic center. If one concentrates in the head, as many do, it is a mental spiritual meditation one seeks for. If in the heart, it is a psychic meditation. These are the usual places where one concentrates. But what rises up first or opens first may not be the mental or the psychic, but the emotional or the vital. That depends on the nature. For whatever is easiest to open in it is likely to open first. If it is in the vital, then the meditation tends to project the consciousness into the vital plane and its experiences. But from that, we can get to the psychic by drawing more and more inwards, not getting absorbed into the vital experiences, but separating oneself and looking at them with detachment, as if one were deep inside and observing things outside oneself. Similarly, one can get the mental experiences by concentrating in the thought and by it bringing a corresponding experience. For example, the thought of all being the Brahman. Or one can draw back from the thought also and observe one's own thoughts as outside things until one enters into silence and the pure spiritual experience. The illumination above the head, as usually seen in this yoga, is the light of the divine truth. It is above the head that there is perfectly the divine peace, force, light, knowledge, ananda. These begin to descend into the body when the personal consciousness is prepared sufficiently. The preparation is usually full of vicissitudes such as these, but one has to persist patiently, opening oneself more and more till that is ready. If one can remain always in the higher consciousness, so much the better. But why does not one remain always there? Because the lower is still part of the nature and it pulls you down towards itself. If, on the other hand, the lower is transformed, it becomes of one kind with the higher and there is nothing lower to pull downward. Transformation means that the higher consciousness or nature is brought down into the mind, vital, and body and takes the place of the lower. There is a higher consciousness of the true self, which is spiritual, but it is above. If one rises above into it, then one is free as long as one remains there. But if one comes down into or uses mind, vital, or body, and if one keeps any connection with life, one has to do so, either to come down and act from the ordinary consciousness, or else to be in the self but use mind, life, and body. Then the imperfections of these instruments have to be faced and mended. They can only be mended by transformation. You say you rise a little above into the higher consciousness, but where do you rise? Into the quiet mind and above the vital, or above the mind itself into something always calm and pure and free?